We're going to do this morning a meditation on the 9-point meditation on death. So it has, because we've done the last three Fridays, I think we've done Perfect Human Rebirth and Impermanence, but except I did them back to front. And so then we'll do this death meditation. So it's not the same as the meditations we were doing before for Kimberly. It's just anyway, it's not just it's a different meditation. It's just another one that kind of follows on from impermanence. But anyway, just settle in. It's a little long, so I'm going to go straight into it. Just settle into your seated posture and just align your body as you know how to do, and lengthen your spine. Notice the breath. The main sensation I have this morning is how fresh the air smells. I've opened my door and thinking about how it's not going to be like that in Kathmandu. So be aware of what might be distracting your mind, even if it's not unpleasant. Bring the mind back to the breath. And just check in with your mind this morning. If you're feeling busy and crowded, just put some space in between your thoughts. And maybe you actually have to take some steps back and create some space in your life. Bring all those people of our life to your mind, friends, enemies, strangers. They change place and they're equal, just like you and me. They want to be happy, they don't want to suffer, and they have an amazing capacity for a Buddha mind. So we'll do this meditation on death this morning. We're trying to increase our own awareness about really what reality is. And while we're all pretending, sometimes we just don't talk about it because somehow it's not considered the right thing to do. Makes people uncomfortable. This journey where I'm preparing for right now, there's a lot of elements that need to go into place. Like I need to find subs for all my classes. I need to make sure all the bills are going to get paid while I'm away. I need to make sure I have travel insurance. I need to we did quite a bit of research yesterday. Which one? There's so much out there, and it's like, what are we going to do for 17 hours 17 hours in Doha? Where are we going to sleep? So all these little elements that need putting into place that we, the friend I'm traveling with, take a lot of effort and time, but are we putting the same amount of effort and time into what's going to happen the day we die? So you can also think of it as a journey. So there's three things that they ask us to consider, and then there's three little points under each one of these three headings. One is that death is certain, the inevitability of death, and we all know that. And there's this uncertainty of the time of death. We all know that too. We all get surprised. I just saw that person yesterday. How come they died? Well, they were in a car crash. And then the fact that only spiritual insight, only what's in your mind can help you at the time of your death. And so there are different ways that you can meditate on these 9 points. But we're going to try and meditate on all of the 9 points this session. So just letting go of thoughts of the past, let go of thoughts of the future. And try and keep your mind, this is an analytical meditation. So me personally, I find these difficult to do. Some people might find analysis a little easier. So try and make a decision to keep your mind focused on the meditation topic for the duration of the meditation session. So the inevitability of death. So we plan many activities and projects for the coming days, months, and years. Some people, plan if they're running businesses, they plan years ahead. And although death is an event that's certain to occur, we all know that it is, we don't often think about it and we don't often plan for it. And even the thought of death doesn't arise in our mind. Even if it does, we kind of push that away. We don't really want to think about it. Because, I think we don't know what's at the other end. But it's really important to think about it and to be prepared for it. I mean, both just emotionally, mentally, but also physically, legally. So we contemplate the following 3 points to get a sense that death is definitely going to happen to all of us. So the first one is that everyone has to die. So in order to kind of get an idea, to generate the experience of death's inevitability, can bring to mind people from the past. Jimmy Carter, writers, musicians. I think CNN has this, who have we lost this year? It's like, oh, that person died. Saints, scientists, criminals, and ordinary people. These people were once alive, and they worked, and they thought about things, and they wrote, and they had loves, and they fought with people, and they enjoyed life, and they went on holiday, and they had suffering, and they had financial worries, and then finally they died. Is there anyone who ever lived who did not have to die? And no matter how wise, wealthy, powerful, or popular a person might be, their life must come to an end. And the same is true for all other living creatures. And there's so much emphasis now on longevity, taking this kind of mushrooms and, you drink this instead of coffee, do this kind of exercise. And now it's like, oh no, that 10,000 steps isn't really the thing. It's got to be according to what your body is. I mean, it's just never ending. And for all the advances in science and medicine and health and nutrition, no one's really found a cure for death. And no one ever will. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know they're working on it. Someone's working on it, has this idea. But your people's lives are getting longer for sure, and they're living happier, more productive lives longer. And definitely nutrition has a lot to do with it, and clean air and clean water, and not too much stress. But really, we are going to die. So think about people you know of personally who've already passed away. Now, of course, in this particular group, we all knew Kimberly. And think of the people you know who are still alive and contemplate that every one of these people are going to die, and so will you. It's a little uncomfortable, isn't it? And there are several billion people on the planet right now, but 100 years from now, all these people, with the exception of a few who are now very young, maybe just being born, are going to be gone, and you also will be dead. So try and get a sense of that fact with your entire being. I mean, think of all the people, of the almost 5 years that we've been doing these sessions in the mornings, of all the people who've passed through, who, either their friends or parents became sick and died, or they themselves have passed away. It's really been about one person a year, which in a group of about 20 or 30 people isn't, I mean, it's not rare. That's what I'm trying to say. And then there's quite a few people who are doing these meditations online on YouTube that I don't even know. I just hear occasionally, oh yeah, I'm doing this on YouTube. So I don't know what's going on in their lives because they're not here. I think we are going to have to continue this on Tuesday. So anyway, I'll keep going. Your lifespan is decreasing continuously. So time, as we know, never stands still. It's constantly passing, continuous. Seconds become minutes, minutes becomes hours, hours become days, days become years. And as time is passing in this way, you travel closer and closer towards death. So imagine an hourglass with the sand running into the bottom. Time you have to live is like the grains of sand continually running out. So hold your awareness for a while on the experience of the uninterrupted flow of time, carrying you toward the end of your life. And you can use that image of the hourglass with the sand running. You can also think maybe if you were to kind of fall from a plane without a parachute, you'd be fully aware of death's approach. But I have to say, not everyone who's fallen out of a plane with a parachute has died. So that's a topic for karma. So just for a moment, if you feel brave enough, just imagine this is actually happening to you and check what thoughts and feelings might pass through your mind. And the reality of our current situation isn't so different. We're constantly moving towards death. We can't really do anything to avoid or postpone it. I think we're all aware of it constantly, of its possibility. That's why we're careful, why we put seatbelts on, why we don't drink poison, why we don't pick up a rattlesnake. why we try to avoid carcinogenics. The amount of time spent during your life to develop your mind is very small. Given that we understand that the mind alone continues on after death, the only thing that will be of any value when we die is the positive and constructive energy you have created during your life. But how much time do we actually devote to understanding our own minds, to being kind to others, to developing wisdom and compassion? So break it down like this. On an average day, how many hours do you sleep? I mean, some people sleep 6, some people sleep 9. How many hours do you spend working? How many hours do you spend in your car, traveling from place to place? How many hours do you spend preparing food, eating, socializing, watching your favorite movie, TV, something? Excuse me. And how much time do you spend feeling kind of depressed and lonely and bored and angry and resentful and jealous and lazy or even critical? And how much time do you spend consciously trying to improve your mind? So I think everyone here is already doing a pretty good job because most people in this room are coming consistently for years now. So there's obviously an interest in somehow working on our minds. So if we do these calculations honestly and assess our life in this kind of way that's kind of practical, we'll see clearly how much time is spent doing things that truly benefit ourselves and others, that are going to be helpful at the time of our death and also carry us through into our next life. So these are the 3 main points, and by meditating on these first 3 points, you should be able to determine, maybe I should be using my life wisely and mindfully. When you're doing definitely when you're doing the first main point, there's many other ways you can think about it as well. But these are the ones that, those 3 are the ones that are recommended in the Lam Rim text. And it also, doesn't mean that while you're cooking dinner, you can be saying mantras, or you can be doing your prayers, or you can be, giving some person some advice. So or that when you're driving around in your car, traveling around in your car, you could be listening to teachings on, through your phone. So, there are many ways you can utilize your life to be beneficial if you do have situations, like traveling in the car, like cooking, like taking care of things that are fairly kind of, human, mundane sorts of things. So the way you choose to live your life. So the next point is, the next main point is the uncertainty of the time of death. So by contemplating the first 3 points, those first 3 little points, you come to accept that you actually are going to die. You get to, it's a bit of a, a reality check. Oh yes, okay, that is going to happen. But you might not think that death's going to happen for a while or for a long time. So why do you think that way? What, is there any way you can know for sure when death is going to happen? So we have another 3 little points under this uncertainty at the time of death. Human life expectancy is uncertain. And we also all know that. If human beings died at specifically, say, 88, and we knew that we were all going to die when we got to 88, we would have plenty of time and space to prepare for death. But there is no such certainty, and death catches most of us by surprise. And life can end at any point. It can end at childbirth. It can end, when you're a toddler. It can end when you're an adolescent. It can end at the age of 22 or 35 or 94. And think of people in your own life who knew of, or you've heard of, who died before they reached the age you are now at. So, we, earlier in the year, we lost some teenagers in a car accident. Oh, they just somehow avoided another car and ran into a tree. They were in a very safe car. They were in a Volvo, but the car caught fire and they couldn't get out. So some of the children survived. I mean, 2, I think. But they were all like under 16. Now, if you think of how old we all are here, they died before we did. So being young and healthy is no guarantee that a person will live a long time. But it's assumed that they will. So children do die before their parents. Healthy people can die before those who are suffering from terminal illnesses such as cancer. We can hope to live until we are 70, 80, 90, 100. But we can't be certain of doing so. We can't be certain that we'll not die this afternoon. So I think I've mentioned this before, but one of the nuns I lived with when I was living in Aptos at Rinpoche's house would always prepare her room as if she wasn't going to be coming back. I was kind of impressed with that because my room doesn't look like that when I leave the house. But it was almost as if to say, I don't want to leave a mess for anyone else to have to deal with. It's very difficult to feel convinced that death could happen at any moment. We sort of feel that we've survived so far, so our continuation is pretty secure. But thousands of people die every day, and quite a few of them didn't expect to. So think about it, have a strong feeling of the complete uncertainty of your own time of death. and how there is simply no guarantee that you have long to live. There are many, many causes of death. So there are many different ways that death can happen to people. So sometimes it's external causes, and we're hearing more of these natural disasters. Just that recently, that flood in Texas, and there was another huge flood in India. Volcanoes go off, earthquakes happen, accidents happen in cars and planes and trains. People are killed by other people. People are killed by animals, poisonous insects, fire. And death can also happen due to internal causes. There are hundreds of different diseases that can rob us of our health and lead to death. And there are also cases of people who are not ill, but something goes wrong in their bodies and they suddenly die in their sleep or while walking around. And then there's old age, and no one's safe from old age. And even things that normally support life can become the cause of death. So, food, for example, we need that in order to stay alive. But sometimes you can die from eating contaminated food. We hear of it. Oh, such and such has been withdrawn, and these people have got salmonella, and 5 of them died. Well, I just went down to the supermarket and bought some meat for their afternoon picnic. And then they got into hospital and they died a day later. Medicine normally supports life, but sometimes people die because they took the wrong medicine or the wrong dose. Houses and apartments enable us to live comfortably, but they sometimes catch fire or collapse. And people die in their sleep, in the womb, coming home from work, going to school, playing games on the field, football, basketball. People die cooking dinner. So death can occur at any time, in any situation. So bring to mind some people in your life who you've heard of, who have died, and think of how they died. I think of the people in my life who've passed away, they've died in many different ways. So think that any of these things could happen to you as well. And so as I thought, we probably wouldn't get to the end of this meditation, so I will continue it on Tuesday. We're still on the topic, the heading, uncertainty of the time of death. So we have one more point in this, and then the last one is spiritual insight. So what's going on in your mind is the only thing that can help you at the time of death. And then maybe we'll do on Tuesday also a death process meditation as well. So anyway, now just see if you can carry this through your day, just an awareness, not a fear, but just an awareness, a practicality of, oh, okay, so this could be my last day, so how am I going to live it? And what would you do today if you knew this was your last day? How would you live your life? How would you live your last day? What would you say to people? So let's just dedicate any insights that we may have had this morning, this afternoon, to all those people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. Okay, Shayla, thank you for hosting. Lots of love, everyone. I will see some of you this evening. Okay, thank you.